trial's finally here. We'll be seeing the defendant for the first time now.
Still sure about this?
If he's guilty, he's guilty.
What about trusting him until the very end?
Right. Maybe I am letting myself get out of control. I'll make you a promise. If I ever get the feeling that he's truthfully guilty, I'll drop the case.
Really?
Really. I won't let myself fall that far.
I'll hold you to it. Look, there he comes.
About time we meet this guy. So you're the one I'm defending.
You Phoenix, right?
That's me.
Okay, you're defending me.
This is the part where you introduce yourself.
Yossarian.
Mr. Yossarian. I see.
Alan Yossarian.
I'm hoping to find the truth behind this case. We weren't able to talk yesterday. Is there anything you can tell me now that might help?
No.
Oh, jeez. I can already tell he's gonna be a pain in the rear. There's a witness who says she saw you with the victim.
Yes.
But I have reason to believe another man might be involved.
Another man?
Shelly the Killer. Know of him?
Sounds familiar.
You're not big on talking, are you?
No.
Is this some kind of joke, Williamson?
Are you ready for the trial?
Usual lawyers won't take my case. Nobody will. Have to use some guy I don't know.
So... no?
What do you think?
You're so desperate, it might help to be less gruff with me.
Let's go.
Huh?
Trial's starting. Let's go.
Oh, right. Before that, I have one thing I'd like to ask.
What?
Did you do it? Did you kill either victim? Did you hire Shelly the Killer?
Doesn't matter. Trial's starting. Let's go.
Are you sure it's a good idea to defend him?
It won't be an easy case. With the killer thrown in the mix, things will be interesting to say the least.
That's not what I asked.
I don't like him, but Williamson was confident he wasn't the killer's client. Did you notice anything?
He got really tense when you asked that last question. He's hiding something.
Wonderful. Nothing we can do about it right now. Better head in.
Order! Court is in session. Before the proceedings, I'd like to remind everyone to please comply with security personnel. This is a sensitive case, and I'd like for everything to go smoothly.
Are we expecting anything to go wrong?
It's a safety precaution. This is already a closed trial. Nobody makes it into the gallery without undergoing screening. I'm aware there was a strange request from the defendant. He wishes to only be referred to as the suspect during proceedings.
Wait, I was never told this.
Now you have been. You two were just introduced, so it should be no matter to you. However, for the trial itself, he wishes a certain degree of anonymity.
Why?
That's his business. Ask him later on your own time. The prosecution will honor his wishes.
Added security and anonymity for the suspect? It sounds like somebody might want him dead.
I was thinking the same thing.
Who would be out for him?
I can think of two possibilities. Mendez or the Killer.
Why the Killer?
Shelly the Killer has a history of not taking it well when somebody betrays him. I don't know if Mr. Yossarian was the client, but it's something to consider.
Well, I don't want to be here if he tries anything.
I wouldn't worry. They seem to have it under control. The killer would want to kill him where there wouldn't be this many witnesses. But I guess the court doesn't want to take any chances.
Now that we've discussed that, would you please give your opening statements? The evidence against the suspect is quite clear. His DNA and fingerprints are found on a shovel covered in one victim's blood. As well, the weapon was found in his home. Oh my! It's pretty clear he handled it. You said one victim? That's right. There were two. We have yet to identify either of them. For convenience, we will be calling them Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. All evidence points to him as the culprit. Thus far, he's not offered an explanation. Know my rights. Don't have to testify. You realize you are only hurting your own defense? Nobody believe me. I'm already guilty. Just give the damn verdict.
He's already resigned to a guilty verdict.
Normally, I'd be able to connect with him on that. He's being too stubborn. It's hard to empathize.
You're the only one he can rely on. His life is on the line.
I don't know anything about this man. Who he is, where he came from. I'm not here for him. A younger me would have been furious.
Does the defense have an opening statement to make?
No, none today.
Oh? Nothing?
The prosecution and I will solve this case together. That's all that matters.
Well said. If that's the case, we can get on to business. We must first address the most decisive evidence we have, the shovel. Detective Mark Waters, please take the stand. Detective, you were in charge of the investigation. This court will hear a summary of our case against the suspect.
Well, okay. It's pretty straightforward, you know. He's obviously the bad guy. Here's what we got, though. Yeah, this whole thing's pretty much open and shut. The victim's blood and the suspect's fingerprint are both all over the shovel. It was in his basement, so, you know, nobody else could have put it there.
I have a question. If it was his shovel, doesn't that explain the fingerprints?
Nah, not quite. The prints were over the blood.
Oh? So we know that he handled the shovel after the murder.
Right on. There was even an eyewitness to it all. The guy's got G-U-I-L-T written all over him.
Is there anything else we should know?
Extra details will be given based on the current needs of the trial. Until then, wouldn't you say this is enough for a guilty verdict?
Yes, it's clearly decisive.
I haven't mentioned you-know-who at all yet. The assassin.
That is strange. Do they really suspect Mr. Yossarian at all? How does the killer fit into the picture? This basement? How do we know nobody else could have put the shovel there?
What do you mean, Mr. Wright? Wasn't it his basement?
My client's basement has two entrances. One opens to the outside. Anybody could have gone in there. Yeah. I'm gonna cut you off right there. That's impossible. Not possible? Okay, so there were two entrances, yeah? Well, the only one going directly outside was locked from the inside. No signs of a break-in.
That's incredibly decisive. Somebody would have to exit through the house.
Yeah, the suspect's house. It does sound crazy, but somebody already managed it before.
Oh? Did they?
The phone lines are being tapped. Somebody had to have broken in at some point.
You don't know when or why it was put there. For all we know, it could have been years ago.
That's beside the point. It proves a break-in was possible. Somebody could have placed the shovel there and then exited out of the house. Yeah, well, it was still locked. And who else beside the defendant would have a key? He locked it, so he knew the shovel was there. Who cares about if a wiretap was put there God knows when? The key.
Well done, detective. You may be on your way to another pay raise.
Just doing my job.
This is the strongest of our evidence mounted against the suspect. Does the defense have any objections?
It's looking bad for Mr. Yossarian. It really looks like he did it. But it might be too early to call. I've had lots of other cases that seemed worse. Plus, I still don't have what I started this case for. Maybe he did know about the shovel. Maybe he touched it. But why? Why kill him?
A good question. We were just getting to that. Detective, explain for us the motive, please.
The suspect was an officer in the Ravalis family. This card was found in his home. Need I say more? Rosen guy was totally whacked as a mafia hit job.
He what?
Oh, right. You were missing out on a few tiny details, weren't you? Like his name. Nobody told me he was a mobster. Was, according to him. I'd say he still is, but he claims otherwise. Says he's retired or whatever. Ha. Williamson, didn't you think I might be opposed to this?
When has your client's occupation been an issue? You've defended a mob enforcer before. How is this any different?
I didn't find out right away then either. He told me he was a security guard.
This card! I think we've seen one like it before.
Very astute, Your Honor. A similar one was found in the Karain case just a few days ago.
It's kind of the logo for the Ravalis family.
The Great Bear. It's a sigil of sorts for their leader. Think of it as a message from him.
I see. Well, we can't ignore this.
Are you worried enough yet?
Well, not quite. I did defend Mr. Parker despite his job. We don't know Mr. Yossarian is guilty.
Well, I'm worried.
Shelly the Killer fits into this story somehow. We don't know how or why. There's still plenty of mysteries left unsolved. I won't stop until everything's out in the light.
I might see something,
But
but it's too obvious. Would they mix up something this easy?
I see what she means. There's a contradiction here that goes against something the prosecutor himself told me. The Ravalis family aren't the culprits here. This card proves that a different assassin was responsible.
What's this? 2 cards?
This one belongs to Shelly the Killer. He's an assassin, alright, but not one on the family's payroll.
Just how many hired killers are we dealing with?
Forgive the defense, Your Honor. He means well, but was misinformed.
What? You're the one who...
Told you about the card? Yes, I did, didn't I? Perhaps you misunderstood. Do you recall what my exact words were? I did not lie to you. We certainly found it. But I never said he was suspected as the killer. I told you I was certain the suspect did not hire the killer. Why might that be? The killer did not murder anybody.
What else was I supposed to think?
It's interesting, isn't it? If the killer murdered no one, why was he there? All evidence points to somebody else. There is only one killer. And he is the defendant!
But the whole reason I took this case was to...
He may yet be involved somehow. The card suggests that. Exactly how? Who can say at this point? Yet the true masterminds are and always have been the Ravalis family.
Why else would the killer be there if not to kill somebody? There were 2 deaths. Maybe who was there for the other? If Mr. Yossarian is found guilty here and now, that's the end.
You are quiet all of a sudden. I hope you're not questioning your decision to serve as a defense. Remember this, the people who tried to kill Ms. Faye are still out there. You know it, and I know it. That is all that should concern you. Don't you wish to strike back at them? I know what they've done to you.
I won't get that unless I look at every possibility. I need to be sure there are no flaws with your argument.
Excellent! I have no qualms with you airproofing my logic.
For starters, I want to question his relation to the family. How can you dismiss his claims of retirement?
He had their card in his safe.
Not enough. I think he was on the receiving end. He was being targeted.
But, Mr. Wright, are you sure you wish to continue this train of thought?
Yes, Your Honor. There are a few things suggesting he wasn't on friendly terms with them. Well, there's the letter. That's one thing. There's more to show. I forgot what the other one was. Remember the wiretap we saw earlier? I think the family may have been monitoring him.
Well, why would they have been doing that?
He was in contact with somebody. I don't know who it was, but the family wasn't happy. Somebody was keeping track to see who he spoke to. And they made it clear they weren't happy about what they saw. If the defendant was responsible for anything, it wasn't willingly. Their leader, Francisco Mendez, was personally threatening him.
You truly are an amusing man. Allow me to support your theory fully.
Mr. Williamson, what? I don't understand.
Why, you ask? Because Wright has just proven the motive. A premeditated murder on orders from the family. It does not matter who ordered it or why. First-degree murder is not justified. There is nothing to suggest his life was threatened. The note mentions nothing of the sort. You cannot pull these things out of thin air.
Oops.
Your Honor, based on what we've seen, what is your take on the case?
Well, everything would seem to point to the defendant. Yes, the case is very clear to me.
Then why waste more of this court's time? Detective Waters, I believe we've heard enough.
Yes, sir, boss. We got this wrapped up.
They're gonna end it already?
Everything I've presented has been turned against me. Did he really do it? They're ready to hand down the verdict. I failed you. But I won't let it happen again. Those men still want to hurt you. To hurt you. Maya. If I stop, they might succeed. Not yet. I don't have the answers I came for. This isn't ending yet. Your Honor, something else is clear as well. Our laws guarantee him the right to face his accuser.
Oh, you mean the witness?
My client has rights, just like anyone else.
Mr. Williamson, we haven't seen your eyewitness yet. We can't end this trial.
Yes, the defendant will be granted this. She is in the lobby, waiting. Though I remind you, she is an eyewitness for a reason. She saw the precise moment of the crime. If the evidence was not enough, her word will convict him where he stands. May we have a few minutes to ready her?
Of course, we will have a brief recess. Please be back in 20 minutes.
10 will suffice. I came prepared today, as did she.
Very well. 10 minutes then. Court will reconvene shortly.
That was a close one. I'm just glad we had that witness to fall back on.
You barely made it out of that. You must be scared.
No kidding. Might think I was on trial for murder.
Don't worry, we're here for you.
Sure you are.
I'm going to ask again. Did you do it?
Do you care?
Mr. Yossarian, I'm your lawyer. Why aren't you more cooperative?
Because I don't trust you.
Why not?
Girl, does he trust me? Why should I trust a lawyer who doesn't have my interests in mind?
Was it that obvious? Okay, I agree. I'm sorry I upset you. I agree that trust is important between an attorney and his client. We'll need to work together to build that. Are you even paying attention?
Yes.
Okay, well I was just saying that we should try to strengthen the trust.
To hell with your trust!
Didn't you want—
You're not here for me. Do whatever it is you'll do. Not that I have a say. Why, you two seem to be getting along splendidly. The defense won't get anywhere like this. Get out, Williamson. Your lawyer doesn't mind. Do you, Wright?
Did you need something?
The witness will be taking the stand shortly. Before then, I came to deliver some more evidence. This was a photo Mr. Yossarian was holding when the police arrested him. Fingerprints indicate it was also in Mr. Rosencrantz's possession at one point, leading me to assume that Mr. Yossarian was given it by him.
Okay, if you have his fingerprints, why haven't you run them yet? What about it? It just looks like some kind of bottle.
Perhaps you could coax some sort of meaning out of your client. You should know. Excuse me, going back in.
Right now?
It's my own damn trial. I can go in when I feel like it.
Well, whatever floats your boat.
Ornery fellow.
Has he always been that way?
Yes.
Ah. And you got me defending him of all people.
Mr. Williamson, you're really tense right now.
There's a lot at stake.
It wasn't this bad before, and I noticed it with Mr. Yossarian too. You two really don't like each other.
You don't need hypersensitive spot telling to see it. Why would you want me to defend someone you hate?
Yossarian has no one else to turn to. He's a desperate man. You can be the one to fix that. I can see what makes you tick. I don't approve of some of your choices, but I understand them.
So you chose me because I'm predictable?
Not the best compliment, I'll admit. Take what you get.
That was a compliment? Do you think he did it?
The evidence is clear.
Give me a direct answer.
I am certain in the same way I was certain with Mr. Parker and Mr. Books. As it stands, there is only one reasonable suspect.
Do you doubt it at all?
No, the truth is absolute.
If you're trying to keep me motivated, you're doing a pretty poor job. Should I be defending Mr. Yossarian or not?
You do what you feel is right. The trial will be over as soon as the witness takes the stand. Just see things through until the end. Do not think of it as defending a criminal. You want to see Menderes burn just as much as I do. He tried to kill Ms. Faye.
You think I can get at him through Mr. Yossarian?
An excellent question. It's a distinct possibility. The family has an agenda here. We'll find out what it was.
The killer's just a hired gun. He shoots who people tell him to shoot. But Menderes, he's the one pulling the strings. And Mr. Yossarian is being threatened by him.
But Daddy, you promised.
I did. Right now, the recess is almost over. Let's hear out this witness. Will it really be over so quickly? We're far from knowing everything.
Has the prosecution had enough time?
Plenty. We're ready to call her in. Miss, approach the stand. We need to see you clearly before we can take your testimony. You will be safe.
Whatever. Let's get this over with. It's you. Herder. Of course it's me, meathead. You saw the crime? What were you doing there? Your mom. My mother's a very nice lady. Come on, Phoenix. Don't get in an argument with this immature weirdo.
Is this what you visited us for yesterday?
What visit? I never went to you for nothing. Spikey's a stupid lawyer and useless and unreliable for anything. Is she really gonna hold a grudge for that?
Stop it! I want this trial ended in an orderly fashion. Witness, you are here to testify against the defendant. Please introduce yourself.
Gladys Porter. You already knew that.
I did. It was just for procedure. This woman saw the very moment of the crime. She identified the culprit. Ms. Porter, tell us what happened. What did you see?
Simple. He took that shovel and bashed the other guy's head in. Whack, whack, whack. Oh. Well, that's decisive.
You're absolutely certain it was the defendant?
Couldn't be more. Could you see him clearly? Picture perfect. Face and everything.
Combine this with the fingerprints on the weapon. What more is there to say?
Yes, it does seem that way. We must hear more at once. Witness, you will explain what you saw in depth.
I'd left the city for a bit of relaxation. I made it there around, 9 o'clock. I saw two guys out there, right in the middle of the woods. Way suspicious. They were talking about something. I don't know what. Don't really care. And one guy attacks the other. Bam! Right in the head. The dead man fell down. The killer went to bury him with the shovel. But then he saw me, got spooked, and ran off. It's a miracle I'm alive.
He ran off? Just like that?
I must have spooked him. I'll bet he wasn't planning on getting caught red-handed.
He's pretty firmly identified Mr. Yossarian as the killer. Did you know either the victim or the killer?
No, never met either of them.
How did you identify him to the police?
I just described him and they did the rest.
You had no idea who he was beforehand? That's strange.
Strange? Your stupid face is strange. What's to you who I do or do not know?
It brings up a very good question. What exactly were you doing out in the middle of nowhere at that time of night?
None of your beeswax, creep.
Irrelevant. What she was doing doesn't change what she saw.
I'd like a decent answer. Why was she at the crime scene? Overruled, Mr. Williamson. I'll grant the defense's request. Witness, why were you in there at such an odd time and place?
Fine. I was stargazing.
In the middle of the woods?
I wasn't going to be in the woods the whole time, duh. There was a clearing somewhere that I was trying to find.
I wasn't aware you had an interest in astrology.
Oh, cults. A paranormal magazine, moron. Ever heard of the Zodiac? I was just doing my freaking job.
Why there? You can hardly deny your presence there is suspicious.
Oh, bull roar. I'll show you suspicious.
This again?
You just don't learn, do you?
Shall I remove her, sir?
No! No! Just take the blasted pepper spray and we'll continue. Ms. Porter's testimony is too valuable to the case.
What the crap? There we go. Save. Load.
The defense asked for an answer and she gave it. Why should we take it into question?
Something strange. It was night in the woods. It should have been too dark to identify anyone. Do you think she...
It's worth investigating. Stargazing. Ha! That's laughably bad. Why was she really there? Alright, where was it that he gives you the map? Probably this one. What is so suspicious about it?
Two guys just out there, in the woods, at night? Ha! They were up to something.
And what was your excuse again?
I got a real bad vibe from it. Up to no good, those two.
Considering the location, it wouldn't be an abnormal reaction. Although really, this is just her own personal analysis.
I've met enough crooked people to know them when I see them.
I'd be scared too. It was really dark and she probably thought she was alone.
Maybe so. But remember how delusional this woman can be.
You're delusional, blockhead. You've got no idea how creeped out I was.
What did you do when you saw them?
Nothing. I just stayed hidden and tried to listen.
Alright, so this might be where... Don't you think it might be important?
Probably. Beats me, whatever it was.
Why don't you care?
Some guy's dead, no matter what. I wasn't close enough to hear the argument.
They were arguing?
Yeah, I could tell they were angry. But they were too far away. Heck if I know what it was over.
What was going on between them?
Do you think she's lying?
The fact she was there brings up an awful lot of questions.
Not everything has to have a reason. It might just be a coincidence.
Doubtful. Porter had some hidden agenda at Karain. We know she's shady. Is Karain connected to this case too? What's she up to?
Where's the map? The attacker was my client? No, stupid, it was the other guy. You know, the dead one.
Please stifle the sarcasm. There are some people who may not catch up.
Sarcasm? She didn't mean that.
I rest my case.
Okay, yeah, well, who else was gonna kill him? You had 2 guys there and 1 died. Think straight.
I was just checking.
You mentioned 1 BAM. Did he only hit him once? It wasn't just once, I don't know. It left him really messed up, so it had to have been a lot.
So awful. I'm glad I wasn't there.
Was he already dead? I don't know. I just saw him fall over. What was I supposed to assume? Based on what we know, would the death have been instantaneous?
The shovel has a heavy head, so it's possible. For Mr. Rosencrantz's sake, I hope he passed quickly. Either way, we have a corpse on our hands. In the end, it shouldn't matter.
Yes, you're right. Does the defense have any objections?
Not at the moment. Whether or not he was dead yet doesn't change anything. The main part of this testimony is that she saw Mr. Yossarian killing Rosencrantz. He didn't have time to bury the victim? Nope. You have me to thank for that. Single-handedly foiled the scheme. I'm sure the police are thankful for your heroics. Yeah? Well, they should be. A bit narcissistic, this one. Was Rosencrantz buried when the police found him?
Guildenstern was. Rosencrantz was not. Rosencrantz was lying next to a small mound of dirt. We could tell somebody had tried to unearth it the night before. It was clear something was buried there. The police dug there and found Guildenstern.
So they weren't technically in the same grave.
For all intents and purposes, they were found together. The hole was being redug so that Rosencrantz could be buried there with the previous victim. Only Guildenstern's killer could have known where he was buried.
Do you think she's... Alright, so I guess here's where it is. Why did you choose this forest specifically? It was spur of the moment. I was driving by and saw the clearing from the road. I thought, that looks like a nice spot.
That's convenient.
Not for me. This is the 2nd time this week. You think I like testifying in these damn things?
Witness! Language!
Oh, get bent.
And once again, he does nothing. Porter 2, Obadiah 0. I forgot this case entirely. Was he really burying the body? Something about that doesn't sit well with me.
He didn't do it all the way. I scared him off, remember?
No, it's the fact he even tried.
How would he bury anybody with this? It snapped right in half. It would have been useless. Ms. Porter didn't really see him burying the body. But, Bull! It must have broken after. I'm not finished. Your testimony implies the victim was killed with 1 hit. According to you, Rosencrantz fell down right after being struck.
Allow me to clear up both of these inconsistencies. What she saw wasn't the suspect burying the victim. He was attacking him.
While he was on the ground?
Mr. Rosencrantz was either killed or stunned after the first blow. After hitting the ground, his killer continued to hit him, over and over and over. That was the up and down movement she saw him making. She mistook it for him burying the corpse.
When did the shovel break?
After he'd finished with Mr. Rosencrantz, of course. It weakened as a result of hitting him, but didn't snap immediately. When the witness startled him in the process of burying the victim, he panicked. In his efforts to escape, he snapped the handle, then tried to hide it in his basement. He locked the door behind him, leaving us where we are now.
That's a pretty good explanation.
It's an excellent explanation, because it's exactly what happened.
That must be right. Yeah, of course it's right. Yes, now I remember. It was just so dark that I got confused.
Does the defense have any further objections? I believe we're about to deliver a verdict.
Actually, after her last statement, I think there's a new contradiction. I'd like for Ms. Porter to explain. Whoops. Wrong one. I didn't! Oh.
If she'd done that, we wouldn't be discussing a Mr. Rosencrantz. That's just a placeholder name, remember?
Yeah, it just slipped my mind. Or rather, I misclicked. Too dark? But then,
Does the defense have any further objections?
how did you say you identified my client?
I saw his face. I knew what he looked like, so I told the police.
I remember you saying that. Funny. You could see his face clearly, but not whether he was hitting or burying Rosencrantz. Sounds like you have a very selective memory, Miss Porter. Care to explain for us?
Well, it's not too complicated. You see,
Okay, here's where he presents the map.
I stumbled across the two as I was trying to find that clearing. It was dark, but there was still enough light to see. I saw the killer hit him right upside the face. Whack. The one guy fell down behind a bush where I couldn't see.
You stayed hidden that whole time?
Until he started hitting him behind the bush. I might have screamed a bit. It was instinctive. I didn't mean to.
And that tipped him off, so he ran away. He was in a position where she could see them, but they couldn't see her. I'm not sure why, but something seems off. You couldn't see? Didn't you just say you saw him burying the victim?
I saw movement. It looked like burying at the time. He sort of bent over him and kept swinging. I couldn't tell, but he must have still been hitting him.
Imagine it from her perspective. She could see through the bushes, but the branches obscured her view. His arms were moving up and down repeatedly. The mistake is understandable. Mr. Rosencrantz was behind the bush, however, which made him harder to see.
If only that stupid bush hadn't been there.
Yeah, it gives her the perfect excuse to not see certain things.
A perfect excuse, huh? That might be worth looking into.
Something about Porter's testimony stinks, and it's not that spray she's carrying. Let's see what we can find out about this. Yeah, mace doesn't really stink so much as it smells like pain. That's when you saw them arguing?
Yeah, we already went over that. Let's just skip on.
Not until you say what you saw.
I already did. What more do you want?
I want to know more. I better ask about all the little details. About where were they each standing?
They were over by some big bush.
Could either see you from there?
No, not really. I was hiding.
Hiding? I think what you just said is very important. Let's talk about that some more.
Whatever.
I'm trying to get a better mental image of the scene. Could you point out each of these places for us?
Certainly. I have a map here you may use. Ms. Porter, please point out the tree and bush you were referring to.
And now I can finally use that map again. Ah, dang it. Fell behind a bush. Your accusation rests on seeing my client's face. But if that's the case, your whole story falls apart.
What are you talking about?
If he was facing toward you, the victim wouldn't have fallen behind the bush. Your testimony is self-defeating. They had to stand in these positions for you to get a clear view of the suspect's face. But you couldn't see the victims. Look where Rosencrantz is. He would land in plain sight. You would have seen everything. Now what's your explanation for mixing up him burying the victim?
I don't know.
She simply got confused. It was dark and hard to see.
Either she saw both his face and Rosencrantz's body, or neither. No matter what, I see holes in her story.
Don't listen to him. He's just spewing crap. He wants to get that dirty crook set free.
Nice try, Ms. Porter. I'm still waiting for an answer.
If he's wrong, witness, then perhaps you should explain why.
Well, he didn't fall down right away. He kind of spun around at first. Then he tried fighting off the bad guy, but he got pushed over and fell back.
You just keep digging yourself in further and further. He didn't try fighting off his attacker. Rosencrantz's autopsy states that apart from his head, he hadn't been injured. He never struggled against his opponent, which of course means... What you just said was a complete lie!
Witness! Too much work has gone into this trial. I will not have you fouling it up for me.
I was just trying to help.
You have a funny way of doing it.
It's his fault, Porcupine Boy. I had to think of something.
Blaming the defense for your own sin? Pitiful.
The truth is, I don't know. Okay? I can't explain why it happened or how. I just can't. Look, here's the truth, okay? I did see them, and I saw the killer's face. But then I heard a noise behind me like a twig snapping. I jumped, and I screamed a bit. I looked back to see what it was, but there was nothing. And when I turned back, there he was running away. I just filled in the gaps because I thought it was obvious what happened.
Witness, that is an admission of perjury. You didn't see the moment of death at all.
I know. He's a rotten murderer. He killed your victim. I had to help.
How is lying helping anyone?
It's not. I screwed up, I know. Just please believe me that everything else is true.
After leading us on like that?
But please. I didn't see him die, but he was lying there. What else could have happened? Maybe you don't believe me anymore, but he was there. Dead as a doornail.
The body was there, so it seems you got one thing right.
I can explain everything. Please let me. I'm sorry. This is all my stupid fault. I've ruined everything.
Thankfully, no. We still have a solid case, with or without you. Right, I will leave the choice to you. We can accept her new testimony or throw the whole thing out. We'll dismiss her as the liar she is and have the verdict decided now.
You've changed her statement so that she never saw the killing blow. Is that enough? What should I do? Let's continue. Ms. Porter has given us new testimony, and it should be examined. It still sounds in the prosecution's favor.
If she's to be believed, then yes. I would have been fine either way.
Porter's the only way to keep this case moving, and we haven't heard enough. My only choice is to find out her full story. What was she really doing there?
Okay, I didn't see the murder, and I did see the body afterwards. Those two were the only ones around beside me. Nobody else could have done it. And I didn't kill him. My prints weren't on the shovel. He left the shovel behind when he escaped, but he must have killed Rosenstein.
You still seem intent on seeing him convicted.
Of course! He's a rotten criminal.
How will you two wish to continue with her? She's openly admitted to perjury.
The witness was there. We know that for certain. She saw something involving the suspect and a death. The suspect won't give a suitable excuse, so she is our only connection to the crime.
I agree. If she lies again, we'll find out.
Very well. Witness, it would be in your better interest not to complicate things further.
I said I was sorry. I was just being irrational.
Her irrational? There's a shocker. What about that noise you heard?
I didn't see anything. I looked all around and we were alone. It was probably just a dumb animal.
How thoroughly did you check?
I couldn't just check the whole damn forest, could I? The area around us was empty.
Fine then, we'll assume it was just the wind. That still leaves one more suspect.
Who do you mean? Oh no. No, not this again. I didn't do a thing. Don't try throwing me on the fire for this guy.
There's no evidence to suspect Ms. Porter as the killer.
Yeah, listen to him. Just listen.
Ah, right. And here... He left the shovel behind? You saw it laying close to the bush? Was it in one piece? Yes, I think. I wasn't paying attention to that. You don't see a problem? Well, I do. The murder weapon should have been taken somewhere else. To his home. If he's the killer, what was it still doing at the crime scene?
He had ample time to return and retrieve it.
If he's the killer, wouldn't he escape with it in the first place? It would have been evidence that he'd killed a man.
You're right, it would have been. What are you getting at, right?
Smart killer would need to dispose of the murder weapon. If what I think this means is true, then this is big. It might be the only opening I get today. I may be onto something here. When Ms. Porter saw my client running away... Rosencrantz was still alive.
What?
Any killer worth his salt would have known to hide his weapon. If my client is truly a mafia officer, as you claim, he'd know that. If he was guilty, why would he leave the shovel lying in plain sight?
His prints are on it. It shouldn't matter if he fled with it.
The shovel was found in his basement, yet Ms. Porter claims he didn't run away with it. My client fled from a meeting with Rosencrantz, but then Rosencrantz just stood in the same spot and waited for him to come back? Is that really what you think happened? There isn't just one person acting strangely here. It's two. No, after my client ran away, somebody else came in and killed the victim.
Ridiculous. Who could it have been?
Oh no. Ms. Porter claims she heard a noise somewhere in the area. I don't think they were the only three people there.
The victim was alive? Ms. Porter, did you intentionally leave that out?
Don't yell. I was just getting to it.
He really was alive? I've had enough of you. Just come clean and tell us what you know.
There wasn't anybody else around. I looked. That crate must have looped back.
Meanwhile, Rosencrantz just stood there, twiddling his thumbs and waiting. Why was my client even running in the first place?
I don't know. I don't know why either of them did what they did. But he just ran off. I saw and watched but couldn't do anything.
I think maybe you do know. Ah, crud. I forgot what the answer to this was. I think I'm onto something here. Ah, crap. These two pairs of footprints were found leading out of the woods. They led straight up to the defendant's home, and they're recent.
What the footprints?
Did you say two sets?
That's right. They were going the same way. The strides were set far apart, which means the people were moving quickly.
Sounds an awful lot like they were running to me. I assume the prosecution also found these.
Of course. The relevant data has been gathered for all related to the case. One set was from the defendant, so her statement matches that.
Who was the other?
This is an imprint from the other set. Right? Care to point out for us who it matches?
They belong to Gladys Porter, the witness.
Precisely.
That means she followed him home.
Did she, Your Honor? Both tracks indicate rapid movement. They were running, and in the same direction.
So it was a chase?
That's right. He heard my scream and then came straight at me.
Why didn't you mention this at all before?
It wasn't necessary until now, but thank you, Wright, for leading us to it. The suspect clearly did not want any witnesses in the area. He spotted her and went after her before returning to deal with the victim.
Why would Rosencrantz wait for him to come back?
It doesn't matter in the end. One man is dead and another's prints are on the killing weapon. Even with the witness's perjury, we still have that.
Those other shoe prints belong to Ms. Porter? Something's fishy about that.
You think so?
Yes. Take another look at that photo of the footprints. The witness's shoe prints are overlapping the other trail. Overlapping? You weren't ahead of him. You were behind. You were the one doing the chasing.
Order! The witness was chasing the suspect before he killed the victim?
That's how it seems. Why was she doing that?
How indeed? Witness!
It was just instinct. I saw a guy running and got suspicious. You can't blame me for wanting to know what was going on. He hadn't killed anyone. Why would you single him out as suspicious? Shut up! I was just confused, okay? It was dark and creepy. I wasn't thinking straight. That's an opening. She wasn't there anymore. Somebody else could have killed him. No, he's the killer. Why the heck are you trying to prove otherwise?
You are the reason I've pressed this far. Your lies are what has dragged on this case on, and you're only digging yourself in further. This might have ended already if it wasn't for you, Ms. Porter.
Yeah.
The witness pursued him. And then what?
And then? Oh.
Maybe you get it now? Who was chasing whom doesn't matter in the long run. The stated theory was that he returned to the forest after running away, and then murdered Rosencrantz. Disprove that.
I can't do that.
You're right that Ms. Porter has thrown the trial out of kink, but it hasn't done a thing to disprove the hard evidence. We are right back where we started.
We still need to know why she was going after him.
As you wish. She may have something to hide, but I do not. The facts are already clear, and the case must be decided. Witness, explain your actions, and do not leave a single thing out.
Like I said, I just happened to be passing by. I saw the two guys staying there, talking. I didn't know either of them. I couldn't really hear too much of their conversation, but it didn't sound friendly. I think they were having some kind of argument. Then one guy just starts running away. The other guy just standing there dumbly like nothing's wrong. It startled me, so I called out, "Hey, he's escaping!" I tried to chase after the running man. He was too fast for me, but I tried to keep up. After a while, I lost him. I came back to the first spot, and that Rosen guy was dead. That guy I was chasing? Yeah, that one. He's the only other person I saw out there.
Apart from the whole chasing business, most of this seems to be a repeat. We've already heard a lot of it.
Exactly. How many times must we address this topic? The witness is unreliable. I'd recommend dismissing her shortly.
He's right. No, Mr. Wright, you still haven't shown us how this changes things. I agree with the prosecution. This trial has dragged on long enough. As such, I will only permit you to ask one question.
One?
You may press one statement, but only one. If you cannot uncover any new information by then, I will have no choice but to assume this is a dead end.
One statement. That's all I can press. The story's updated, but it's mostly still the same. She was out stargazing despite not knowing anybody there. She saw them arguing, and then later found Rosencrantz dead. I can't get distracted with what we already know. I need to check for two things. One, this can't deal with anything we already know. Two, it can't be something she could easily deny the truth about. It would have to be something that's logically impossible for her to wriggle out of. She knows a big secret she isn't telling us. There must be somewhere she slipped up in here that leads us to it. You saw two men you didn't know. One started to run away, and you called out to the other. If I saw the same scene, I'd assume the man running was in danger. And yet you weren't worried at all. You thought he was escaping.
Might she have seen him doing something odd?
No, if it was bad enough, she'd have mentioned it by now. She's had plenty of opportunities to explain why she found him suspicious, but didn't.
Well then, why would she act that way?
For her to do that, she'd need some familiarity with both parties. Miss Porter knew exactly who both the suspect and victim were.
But she said the complete opposite.
You're right, Your Honor. She denied knowing both of them. And that means our witness has lied yet again. That gives you two very good reasons to be at the crime scene. It shatters the credibility of your stargazing alibi, as if it had any to begin with. Yeah!
Order! Order! What was she really doing there?
She knew the meeting was going to happen. Isn't it a bit coincidental that she just happened to show up where they were?
How did she know? Somebody had to tell her.
We don't have a lot of possibilities. She knew it was happening that night. Wait, that's not the right one. There we go, Rosencrantz. Hey, he's escaping. Those were her exact words. If I'm not mistaken, it sounds like the witness and victim were working together.
You knew the victim? Why haven't you identified him?
Not just perjury. She was withholding vital information.
You don't get it. I wasn't even supposed to be there. He told me not to come, but I had to. I followed him there and... I take back what I just said. Your Honor, that's a confession. She was working with Rosencrantz. No, I wasn't.
Ms. Porter, please tell me this wasn't just for laughs. Who was Mr. Rosencrantz? Why did he direct you there?
He didn't mean to. He just said he was meeting him there, and I followed him. He told you where he'd be? It almost sounds like he was baiting you there. He wanted you to come. But by telling you not to, he ensured that you would stay hidden. But that makes no sense. How do you know that? Look where we are now. Look what you're doing. The truth is, Rosencrantz used you as a witness.
A witness? What for?
For his own death. What? He thought he might die that night. He wanted you to identify the killer. That was why... I never thought of that. I didn't think he'd go that far.
He thought he'd die, and yet he still went? Why?
Oh, I've ruined everything. I'll tell you everything I know, prosecutor, but only you.
Just me?
In the lobby, where we're alone. Nobody else should know.
I see. Your Honor?
Yes. Take as much time as you need. This court will go into recess until they are finished. Order! Everybody appears to be in the place once more. Mr. Williamson, have you learned enough from our witness?
Yes. She's been transported to detention. She's sorry not for her actions, but for the confusion they caused. She's fully aware that they'll carry heavy consequences.
I see. Well, she did try to pull one over on us.
Yes. She can be quite unpredictable, that one. The parts about her witnessing the attack and not knowing the two men were fabrication. She stands by everything else.
Can you tell us what you've learned?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. That would not be a good idea.
I beg your pardon?
If I say too much, it may compromise her safety. I won't risk that.
Oh? So she's in danger?
Yes. I can't, however, announce Rosencrantz's true identity. Sadly, I had a sinking suspicion earlier. I was right. His name was Stephen Jameson.
Jameson? Not anyone I'm familiar with.
Williamson? Are you...
Your Honor, the prosecution requests an extension for the case.
What? But you're in a much stronger position than the defense.
I'm unsure how to continue. I'll need to reevaluate how to approach everything.
Well, if you insist. I'd say the facts were still pretty clear, but the prosecution's request will be granted. Court is adjourned until tomorrow.
What's wrong with him?
I'm not sure. Something Porter said really shook him up. Who was Stephen Jameson? What did Porter know about him? And cut.